Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay. We had a couple of technical issues, but welcome to another episode of Cubfidential. And I am the producer, Mr. Cubfidentiality, Denzel Snipes. And so this week we've got a slight change. JB Ellis can't run tonight. Get well soon. We'll see you back as soon as you can. But we have a stand-in, and I'd like to introduce who is backup quarterback tonight. He is the Rocky Mountain rock star. This is Jordan Long. Come on in, buddy.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Looks
Okay, cool.
Difficulties. Jordan's gonna come right back in here in just a few moments.
Awesome. And Jordan, I see you backstage. Still can't hear you, buddy.
He's still muted.
Check the volume on your computer. I know it's...
I wonder what's going on.
I don't know. Well, while Jordan's fixing that, I'm going to do him proud. So,
Okay.
as you know, we have a lot of really cool topics to go over tonight. So, and I know that we have about 6 topics. I may accidentally leave one out. So, Jordan, correct me when you get your sound back. I do know that we're going to be talking about Mr. Carrie Wood and the early 2000s. Gotta love Carrie Wood.
Oh, okay. Let me take this down.
And then we also are going to be talking about the Cubs White Sox series.
Good evening, Jen.
Hi, Jacob. What up, my brother? What up, Pundit?
They said the backup quarterback with Jordan, but that was Nathan Peterman. Now they got replaced by the real backup quarterback, Nick Foles.
No, let's call me Derek Anderson, the Buccaneers eater. I mean, but I know we're going to be talking about the White Sox series, which was 50-50 split this week.
Morel was.
Morel tying the franchise record that Contreras set back in 2013. We're going to be talking about, like I mentioned, Carrie Wood.
Yep.
Nico Horner. We're going to talk a little bit about Suzuki being placed on IL. And what else are we going to talk about, Jacob?
No. Anything goes with
management decision last night in the White Sox game. Or Sunday night in the White Sox game.
I think the Cardinals series.
Yeah. And then we're going to be also talking about I forgot what else. Jordan, when you come back on stage. We will.
We'll figure something out.
It's the 3 of us. Come on back on, Mr. Cubfidentiality. I know you know stuff. But
he knows sound. He has his sound.
So.
Well, I guess I'll moderate until he gets back. But all right, well, we just kind of roll right into it. We kind of got a short show. But let's talk about
For what reason? I can make it an hour. Are you kidding me? I can do it myself.
That's a little unfair to ask of you.
That's a little. I'm like, I can't stay up that late Don't do it to me.
Yeah.
I'm
But
old.
we'll go right into the Cubs White Sox series. Jen, you want to kick it off?
Sure. What a game on Saturday night. That was a great game. 5-1. We had Patrick Wisdom with a 9 on a fly ball to the right field. And of course, our man that we will be discussing in depth, Christopher Morel, scores on that. We have, and this is all in the top of the first, we have Frank Schwindel with a single on a sharp line drive. Sorry, went a little dyslexic there. To the left field to AJ Pollock, and Wisdom scores. And Schwindel made it to the third, and because of a throwing error by AJ Pollock. Thanks, AJ. Then at the top of the second, grounds out. Simmons grounds out softly to shortstop Tim Anderson to first base Jose Abreu, and Horner scores, and Rafael's there. Like Saturday night's game was fun. On the bottom of the fifth, and these are just the highlights. We had Jake Berger.
Jordan's got sound. Jordan's got sound now.
Jordan!
Tech issues. What can I say?
Hey, Jordan.
But you guys are talking about
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan, they
Saturday night
announced you as the backup quarterback to Meadows Paxton Lynch.
Yeah, exactly. Or I could have been Drew Lock at that point. But yeah, you guys were talking
Teddy Bridgewater's
about
a better one for you.
Game 1 on Saturday.
Yes.
Teddy was.
I'm just going
great,
over it. I'm talking. Yeah. I was just saying that at the bottom of the fifth, Jake Berger hit a homer. Yeah. Jake Berger hit a homer on a fly ball to the left center field. Top of the seventh, Wisdom grounds into a force out and shortstop Anderson to second base. Josh Harrison, Simmons, and Wilson can score. Contreras got to third, hop out on second, and Wisdom made it to first. Also, during the top of the seventh, Frank Schwindel had a single on a ground ball to right fielder. Vaughn and Contreras scores, and then Wisdom got to third. So, I mean, it was a pretty wild, fun game. A couple other highlights, but I'll let other people talk too.
Okay, well, the thing about Saturday's game is, I mean, we won 5-1. I don't know about you guys, but when we play the White Sox, it's basically like a World Series in a way, just because I want to beat them so bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about, us versus them. I mean, I have family members who, are White Sox fans, so they give me a lot of crap when they actually win. But then at least we won game 1, 5-1. I mean, you look at Johnny Cueto, and that's he's a potential all-star usually in most years. I don't know what's going on with him with the White Sox, but you know what? I think the thing about this game, and we've talked about it on this show, that we haven't had pitching, but we had pitching in that game, limiting this team to 7 hits. This is a team actually that I picked to win their division. They're not doing that right now.
Mm-mm. No, because they're 2 hit or miss. Usually miss when they should be hitting. Like the puns guys. And thanks. Those are my mom jokes.
Well, one of the issues is right now, and I'll say this with the Cubs, is the fact that I'll talk to this. It's like, first off, remember what we brought up this whole time. It is we never have a lineup that's consistent. Cubs never have that. And it's and in this case, this is a time when you need real, the power hitter in the 4th spot. We don't need him in the 1st spot. You need all of that. But here's the thing. When you see like a 5-1 score, when you see 21 runs at one time, at that time, you know what I'm saying? You could say that. And thank you for despising the Cubs. No, but that's...
you and I are going to fight, my friend. I've got to go on the sip-off on Thursday night just to talk to Ant.
But
okay, I'm sorry.
That is the thing, is like when you see him score 21 runs, you see the 5 runs with that first time around, it never lasts, because you will see 3 or 4 guys switch around in the lineup the next day. Why? Because it's Ross. I always say Ross learned from Madden, only Madden had years to perfect his. It's kind of like the grandkid with the grandma, with the recipe, and they don't know how to exactly do it. That's exactly what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest problem with a really bad team or a closely bad team, the White Sox have this too, is the fact that when the hitting is on, for some odd reason, the pitching doesn't want to follow. And when the pitching's on, the hitting doesn't.
And
to your point about Ross, I was just going to say, to your point about David Ross, if you look at yesterday's game, just for instance, and this was one that absolutely drove JB batty, was the fact that, we were ahead, or we were down 2-1. We had bases loaded. We already had a bunt by Frazier to load the bases. And then you bring up Simmons, who, instead of doing a suicide squeeze, which may have tied the game, you let him hit. Now, the worst case scenario is that if Simmons is, the ninth hitter in the lineup, the worst case scenario is you throw, I think, somebody at home, I believe it was Schwanda, or Wisdom actually, and you throw him out, and then you have the bases still loaded. So why aren't we doing a fundamental baseball?
Well, for one thing,
because Ross didn't pay attention to Madden. I said because Ross didn't pay attention to Madden.
I'll go with that.
It could possibly be, but see, these are all those things I've said about Ross. I don't have a hate toward Ross. What I say is he should have started in the minors. He should have started in the minors. He's a nice guy and he knows his baseball, but he should have started in the minors. Those are mistakes you rectify in the minors. You learned game one. You don't rectify this in the big leagues, especially when you took over a team that won a World Series like about 3 or 4 years earlier. They won a World Series. This isn't like you're going to get to this. You're the hero. You don't have to do this. It's like you just took over a team that has expectations now.
Well, question, because I truly do not remember. How well did the Cubs do in 2017, 2018? Because I truly don't remember. I'm sorry.
Well, they got to a playoff, but out quick.
2017, we was it 2017? We actually beat the Washington Nationals, and they got swept by the LA Dodgers. 2018
Out quick was 18-19. Out quick was then. The next one was the won a playoff series and lost to the LCS. Yeah, that's my fault.
Right, exactly.
And sorry, I truly couldn't remember. I could have Googled it, but I didn't.
Yeah, they beat Dusty.
It's all good. Yeah, but speaking of good things, that the White Sox series didn't go our way. How about morale? I mean, do you think we finally
we're gonna talk
a
hold on, let's talk morale after the cover done. Yeah, we'll talk about him in a minute. Let's talk Suzuki first.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. So obviously you guys heard that Suzuki's placed on the injured list. It was a 20-5 game where he got hurt. He was trying to lag out a double. He hurt his finger.
Good for him.
The question is for Cub or Dub, will he return to form from injury? The thing is, though, as you look at his numbers, they're not terribly bad. I mean, if I can find him,
240.
He's hitting about what, 240 exactly
in the 240s, but he has a high OPP. He has a high on base percentage, which that's a good thing. But he's hitting 245.
Here's the deal. I think in the short term, it might hurt him a little bit. Long term, it's going to be fine. He's going to be perfectly fine. And I don't even think the short term will be that long, to be honest with you. Like maybe just a couple games just to get back in form. But long term, he'll be fine. And I would rather, being a Carolina Panthers fan, first and foremost, and a Cam Newton fan after that, I would rather see star players get healed before they go back out on the field.
I would agree with that. But if you look at his numbers, go ahead, Jacob.
No, I'm sorry about that. No, one of the biggest issues we see is like you're talking about form. There wasn't. If we're talking form, we talked about very early, and if he would have hurt himself after the very early, when it was like 350, 360, If he would have hurt himself in, then we could talk about going back to form. But he already went down. He's got a high on-base percentage. It's about 245. There's not really a form to go back to other than will he swing too much? Will he be a little skittish, or will he keep walking? I mean, if he's at this right now, yeah, he can stay at 245. Heck, he can go to about 270. So, I mean, yeah. So it's like no big deal. It's not like he was 360 and didn't hurt his finger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right, I agree. But I do think the thing that we're going to miss, though, is a little bit it's his fielding wise. I know he's an outfielder and you don't get many balls, but you're looking at, a .985 fielding percentage, which isn't bad. And I saw him make some good catches, but we do have outfielders that can step up for him.
Well, there's still Hayward. Hayward, even as a terrible hitter, is a
he's
great
still
outfielder.
out though. He is.
He's still a great outfielder.
That's something that is something I want to bring up here in a moment about Jason Hayward once we talk about Morel.
Me too.
Just a little teaser.
We got high morale right now.
But then I do think like Suzuki was sick at the beginning of this month too, and he missed 2 or 3 games. So I do think that it's gonna happen every once in a while. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll come back to form long term, but like I said, short term, yeah. Jordan, do you want to start off on morale, and then I'll feed in my notes also?
One pitch to the face was really these guys.
So Morel has the franchise record of, I believe he got a walk, so that's 14 straight games, which broke Wilson Contreras for the long such streak to get on base. This guy, he's a leadoff hitter now. I think we found our leadoff hitter, but he was called up from Double-A Tennessee 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. That is very unheard of. I mean, a lot of the times you go from Iowa to the big show. No, you went from Double-A. And the thing is, though, the streak, I don't know if he had any hits today, but in his streak going into tonight, it was 14 hits, 3 doubles, 2 home runs. So he had 1 more hit, 5 RBIs and 8 walks, 1 hit by pitch. I think we finally have a leadoff hitter. So I think we have a leadoff hitter.
Well, to be fair, we have. We've had 2 actually with Ortega and Contreras. However, Morel is awesome because Morel has been bringing in, to quote David Ross, the spark that the Cubs needed. Okay. You look hesitant. Go for it.
I like Morel. I like his enthusiasm. I want Suzuki as the leadoff hitter. I'm sorry. I mean, he gets on base. OBP gets on base. I'm sorry. But no, Morel, here's my issue with Morel.
But Morel has been like getting the bases loaded.
Understood. And
Morel was the key reason why we beat 5-1 on Saturday night.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a long-term deal. I've seen his percentages. I've seen his hitting percentages in each zone. And his main fat hitting zones where you get a fat ball, he's not very good. He's so far hot in the zones that they're not supposed to be hitting. He's getting lucky. Yeah, he get way up into the corner to throw him to him. And he's hitting there right now. But in the fat part of the plate, he's not that good. And as the leadoff hitter, and especially if he starts to struggle, we're going to have a problem. That's the biggest issue. The thing I'm thinking about is right now getting on base however you can. Suzuki gets on base way more ways. But I like Morel. I want him to keep going. I want him to improve, but I don't want him as a leadoff hitter.
Well, I mean, Morel's not looking too shabby. I mean, as of Monday, Morel averages were 287, 386, and 469 through his first 13 games. So, I mean, you want to look at those numbers versus Suzuki's. Suzuki's
awesome.
Numbers are actually better than Suzuki's.
No, that's awesome for now, but I'm thinking of 162, and I'm telling you, I like Morel, but he has the type of things that's going to start struggling eventually.
You just said Suzuki was better than the Suzuki.
It's going to start struggling eventually, especially when the pitchers figure out there's certain zones that he can't hit.
Well, yeah, but he's going to keep working.
I mean, we're going to keep Jason Hayward for him, or
no. I told you.
I think we're going to keep both of them.
I don't want him as leadoff hitter. Is all my thing. I don't want him as leadoff hitter. I like the power hitting thing, but I don't. But I'm just saying, there's going to be a struggle with the zones that he has problems with right now, and they're going to figure it out.
So you'd rather have,
They were
have him at
Denzel.
the bottom
I don't know.
lineup,
I'm
Give
too
or would you
hot.
rather have him in the middle?
Yeah, absolutely.
So 3, 4, and 5.
Sure. Absolutely no
Okay.
question.
I'm
Eat
cool with
shit.
that.
Oh, what did you do, Jen?
You know, it's just temperature hot. I have no
Uh-huh.
clue. Probably a car accident because there've been a couple of them.
Your alibis, you're on one of our shows.
I know. This is my alibi. Hold
Yeah.
on. I need to make my husband come on the show real quick so he has an alibi too.
Yeah, bring your dog.
I didn't kill the
I don't have her.
I didn't kill the cop. I'm fine.
But I think back to
Okay.
like what bothers me a little bit, and actually we kind of touched on this at the beginning. So David Ross had this quote this week: "Love him in center, love him at second. If he's in the field, he's a spark for us right now. And I'll continue to take what we can get and try to fit the most offense in the lineup." Okay, my concern with that quote is what we made reference to at the beginning. There's no solid lineup. To me, David Ross sounds like Matt
There
freaking
isn't.
Rule and saying, "Oh, let's have 4 starting quarterbacks."
Why does Rossi have to deal with no Rizzo, no Bryant, no Baez?
My husband's
that
adding his
also has to
sense in
go
me.
with.
Did you just hear him, Jordan?
That honestly has to go with the. Yeah, I heard him. The thing about
Okay.
all those moves was we're trying to save money. It was a cost-saving move. You let Rizzo go, which I didn't like, to the Yankees. You let Baez go, and now I think he's signed a long-term contract with the Tigers. Chris Bryant goes to San Francisco and actually ends up in my neck of the woods, Colorado, as the face of the franchise. It was just a cost-cutting move. And honestly, I know this isn't a popular opinion. It's Jed Hoyer, the general manager, is trying to make the team
and the ownership
his way, and
they
it's not
jacked
going to
the price
work.
of the team just for money.
Exactly.
What?
They jacked up the price of the team with the winning season, finally getting one damn fucking championship. Then they stopped caring.
Jordan and Jacob are nodding their heads in agreement with you because they can hear everything you say. Just so you know.
Yeah,
He's like a
that
Cub
is the thing.
aficionado.
We were supposed to be a dynasty, and then you trade it all away
Ah.
because you got one ring. And then,
Let
of
me-
course,
We are.
you get rid
We're
of
the
Aroldis
lovable
Chapman.
losers.
Jordan,
But-
do you understand why I keep saying I get so darn jealous of the Cardinals? It's like for the last 40 years.
Yes,
they
I do, because
constantly stay consistent. Constantly.
Say hi, Jay.
Hello.
well,
Hello.
exactly, because of the fact that they keep their players and actually build even after a losing season. How many years
They
has
never get
Yadier
losing
Molina
seasons.
been there?
They won losing seasons.
How many
Their
wins?
idea of a
Exactly,
crap
that's my
season is 86
point.
wins.
Ross? Like 3 years.
Not Ross.
Right, exactly. And
German.
our definition of a
Jed
good season
Hoyer?
is to make the playoffs. Great season
Their
for us
idea
is to
is-
go to the World Series. I get it. It's frustrating.
Yes.
So
Leah Thomas.
we'll move on
Oh, no,
to
not that
move on to this. What do we call it? This date in Cubs history? One of actually a great moment in Cubs history, and actually was one
Carrie
of the best
Woods.
pitching performance was Carrie Wood's 20 strikeout game. The thing that I didn't realize, I mean, I remember watching it and all that, is that he wasn't very good up to that point. He was, he was 20 straight.
He
was
has what a 5 ERA.
5.89 ERA. Yeah, exactly. 5.8 ERA, 12 walks, and only 18 and a third innings. This is his rookie year. 15 hits and 12 walks. I didn't realize that was how bad he was going into this game. And even the Astros, they had one of their best pitchers going, Reynolds, and Reynolds actually had a pretty good game.
He
I
had a
don't know
very
if you
good
remember
game.
this about Reynolds.
Still just
Exactly.
seniors.
He pitched a complete game, 8 hits, 2 walks, 2 runs given up, 1 earned, 10 strikeouts.
Carrie
But we're all here to talk about Carrie Wood.
Oh
I mean,
no,
Carrie
Reynolds
Wood
had an amazing
was
game.
unbelievable that game.
I agree with that. Mark Pryor.
Out and wanted to hear, so I unplugged my
But do you
headset.
realize-
Sorry, guys.
You're good.
Carrie Wood was
Do you realize
amazing.
that
Like,
lineup of the Astros? He was.
yeah,
But
he
that
was.
lineup that was featured that day, Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. Guess what? 2 Hall of Famers for the Astros.
Sure.
Question:
Derek
were the
Bell.
Astros big cheaters then too, or no?
No.
As far as we know, they weren't.
Okay. Sorry,
But
that was a
if you look
legit
at
question. All
the
right,
two
why are you
teams-
grumbling, Jacob?
It's not
Yeah,
you. I'm
let's
saying
see-
that's
let's
an
hear
argument
Jacob.
that the internet uses all the time. I have so many things I can say about that. But I remember I was in college that year. And we had a day off. So I got to go to my grandma's house. My grandma had the cable. So there's that rainy day in Chicago. And actually that was I remember with Kerry Wood, didn't think much about it. He just a big, powerful pitcher. You know what I'm saying? Stay mad? Okay. But anyway,
Right.
but no, he was a big, powerful pitcher. He had some fireball, but just lost control of the thing. You know what I mean? He'd lose control. That's why he had the 12 walks. But one of the things that you see is when you've got that kind of skill, you have those moments. And here's the truth. It should have been a no-hitter. It should have been a no-hitter with 20 Ks. There was, the third or fourth
really
inning, ground ball, third or fourth inning, ground ball, the hard thing, they called it an error. It's like, that should have, no, that was a hit. I call it a hit, it was an error. That should have been a no-hitter.
Do you remember how long that game took?
Ooh, an hour 56
It took
or something.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Pretty darn close. 2 hours and 19 minutes. Crazy. No switching of pitchers. I mean, you're talking about today's game where you can barely even get a game in 3 hours. I went to a Cubs game in 2000 and I want to say 8 or 9, and that was 2 hours and 45 minutes, 2 hours and 50. I thought I was doing pretty good, but 2 hours and 19 minutes.
I think
Unbelievable.
Hendricks had one against.
But you know the thing about Carrie Wood
against the Cardinals. I think Hendricks had one against the Cardinals that was like 224. He had 81 pitches, but I mean, I thought it was the last one that was that quick.
The
I
thing
don't
about
know.
Carrie Wood to me, it's the biggest what if story because had he been healthy, you know, we're talking about maybe not a Hall of Famer, but a guy that could easily have won more
Hall
games
of
than
Famer.
not. I mean, the old joke was, I agree. And you look at his not his numbers, but if you look at it, the old joke was when Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor were hurt, you knew it was Cubs baseball season.
That's true.
And
I don't know if you heard him, Jordan, but Alton just said something very similar.
No.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it was true. It was true, but it was like the thing is about Kerry Wood. It's like he was 86 career wins. He had 86 career wins for the Cubs, and a lot of them he ended up being a pretty darn good reliever also after the end. He had like 60 career saves, but 64 career saves or something. The biggest thing about Wood was the fact that he would have been, if he would have stayed healthy, he's a Hall of Famer. But the problem was he had the absolute most chaotic form you ever saw in your life. He was going to get hurt.
I would agree with
The biggest
that.
problem with Pryor is he had the most perfect form and he got hurt anyway. That's just the Cubs for you.
We can bring that up next.
Well, yeah, it was the biggest what if in my mind because, you know, we saw what they could do in 2003. We never got to see those guys again. I mean, I understand 2003 is not the greatest moment in Cubs history. And Kerry Wood, I believe, started Game 7 of that series against the Marlins.
And got a 3-run homer.
Fuck Moises Alou.
Yeah.
It's not his fault.
Sorry.
It's still,
But they
it wasn't his fault. It was fans. And then the fact that we kind of went downhill, JB and I talked about a few weeks ago. It wasn't the fan. It was the fact that we were ahead in Game 6 and washed it all away after that because we couldn't have composure. And I'm not going to say that's on Dusty Baker or anything. I just know that we just lost composure.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, like, Kerry Wood was amazing, but he pitched most of his games without a reliever. So, and as y'all said, he was somewhat chaotic. Yeah. So, and he was good. So he couldn't play that long. So I'm glad he got out while he could still use his arm after the fact.
He has the Cubs record for most strikeouts in three games, 46 in 3 games. So I'm
There
like,
you go.
he had 20, 13, and 13. So it's like right then and there,
Yeah.
So, I mean, the guy was a monster. He was a monster. It's like, I wish he would have gotten 200 wins. I wish he wouldn't have gotten hurt. And it's like, he was a Hall of Famer to me.
And if
His skills were Nolan Ryan Hall of Famer when he was on. Problem was, Nolan Ryan didn't lose control of his pitches the way Carrie Wood did.
Question: do you think Nico Horner will end up being a Hall of Famer? Just thought I'd
so early. Hey, that goes into this Cubs for you as our player of the week was Nico Horner. He came back from the injured list May 26th, and all he's done since then is actually hit the ball, batting .421 in this stretch and 5 RBIs. So he's got to be our this Cubs for you, AKR player of the week.
Yeah. Oh no, Nico Horner. I keep wanting to call him Horner, just because of that thing. But Horner, that guy there, it's like he started out with the 1 home run, on opening day, and it was a miracle because he hadn't had one in a billion years, in a billion at bats. Now he's starting to hit some pop. He's starting to get some pop there, and they look at his forearms lately. It's like, is he in the gym or is he on steroids? Is he taking the Barry Bonds juice?
Let's hope not.
I don't know.
However, have you guys been? Okay, I know this is off topic. I'll just say right now the Cubs have regained the lead in the Brewers game. Sorry.
Good. Well, that's good. No,
I have it on my scoreboard.
Well, as long as we beat the Brew Crew, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, we did. And then hopefully, if they could win that game, get Hendricks seem to finish it off. I mean, Hendricks needs he's struggling right now.
The professor is the man.
He really is. But
hey, Pundit, you have a new. Were you calling Jacob the professor?
No.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was calling you the professor. I don't know.
Hey, I thought it was gray hair. I
thought he was giving you a compliment, Jacob, because I figured you would love that.
If it's a professor, it's the gray hair.
Hendricks is the professor.
Sorry, I knew
exactly.
that. I don't know why I spaced on that.
So
I'll hush now.
Unfortunately, we don't have our Cubs debate, but I ended up liking that. Unfortunately, Jen, we haven't gotten you on one of those Cubfidential debates. We got to get you on one of them. I know it's late where you are.
I watch in bed with my headphones on.
I know.
Plus, watching you and Jacob or Steve and Jacob. Jacob, do you ever notice you're always the one that gets picked for it?
It's a hard job, but someone has to do it.
I'm going to let you stay on there. And that's my new nickname for you. I know you're the Pundits Pundit. I'm going to call you the prof. Just saying.
I'm the one that looks like
there you go.
And Jordan, as much as I love you, we need to get you a Panthers hat.
Panthers hat? You know what? As long as it's not anybody from the AFC West, I'm good with it. Or the New England Patriots.
We'll get him a Matt Rule shirt. We'll give him a Matt Rule shirt.
Hey, I got nothing on Matt Rule. I'd wear that.
If you're my friend, you don't like him.
Hey, we'll make Matt Rule the coach of the Broncos.
All right, back to baseball. So, do you guys think he's gonna?
I'm good with Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, right.
Do we think that Horner's gonna be the long-term?
Second base shortstop.
Yeah, second base shortstop.
Yeah. Especially second base.
I don't know the way we've got some guys.
Go ahead.
I don't think so. I would have to agree. I mean, he's a great second baseman right now, but you can get better guys in free agency. You can get trades.
Yeah.
And who knows? He'll probably be gone after next year. I don't know how long his contract is, but it just seems like even if we like the guys that are now, this whole lineup / roster is going to change by next year.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, where are we? We're 7.5 games behind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a loss. Right now, it's a lost season. We've been talking about this on the show. It feels like it's a lost season. The question I have is, what do we do with David Ross? I know none of us like him.
Oh, he's gone.
When do we let him go? That's my main question.
He's gone by August. No, the biggest deal about it is the fact that, I mean, there's too many powerhouse free agents, too many people to trade for. And then too many people, and then you can also get too many people in free, in the minor leagues. Horner's gone. You know what Horner is? He's the guy that'll go to the Cardinals. No one will see it coming, and then he'll be the guy that can pinch hit and get a home run. It's like the Cardinals get those guys. They'll get those guys. They'll get those every day.
I'd say Schwarber. He was that guy.
Did you hear him?
Yeah, I heard him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I agree with that.
He's our unofficial guest for the night.
But that's what the Cubs miss. That's what the Cubs miss with those types. It's like that's what the Cardinals will pick him up or something like that. They'll pick them up and he'll like be the big pinch hitter that comes up with things. They always do. The Cubs really don't. That's why the Cubs don't get consistent. They don't get that. They don't get that everyday neighborhood guy.
So
you remember David Freese? David Freese like that. The Cubs don't get that guy.
Do you think it's more on Ross, or do you think it's more the owners and the management?
You can't blame Ross
I have
for
to go
everything.
with no. I mean the roster and the everyday roster, sure you can blame Ross because he designs it with the lineup card. But if you're looking at the roster as a whole, it's Jed Hoyer. It's also the Ricketts family because they're just looking at it, like I've said, it's a rebuild mode right now. Yet, not that long ago, 6 years ago when we won the World Series, or 5 years ago, this was a dynasty. Yes, dynasties get, torn down and rebuilt. We see that all the time. Look at the Yankees, for instance. I mean, I know they haven't won it in a while, but they've torn it down and rebuilt it.
No, they're coming.
And they're in first place right now or close?
They're coming.
Exactly. So they're
power.
I think if we want to model it, we got to model it after the New York Yankees. The fact is that they tear it down, they rebuild it, and they get better. We rebuild it, we somehow get worse. And that's been the case for a while. I just think it's Jed Hoyer trying to do his best, trying to get a bookmark on this roster, and he just hasn't done it.
But
what changes do you think need to happen?
Sorry. Go ahead, bud.
What changes do I need to see happen? That's a great question. I think, honestly, if we're going to rebuild, we got to do it the right way. You got to fix the minor league system. I know ours is up there, but you got to fix that minor league system. You have to bring in some veterans. I know we have Jason Hayward and Wilson Contreras, but you also have to find guys like Jacob was saying, find guys that the Cardinals do.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to if we want to rebuild it correctly.
Well, first off, the Cubs need to go get to piss off their fans by going and get Dusty Baker again. First thing, that's something I don't. But still, it's like the jokes aside. Jokes aside on that. The thing is they need the we brought up the Cardinals second. They need a Paul Goldschmidt. They need a couple other stars. They need to get serious. Then they need to go get that neighborhood guy that mows the lawn, David Freese type. It's like I'm not going to quite go Nico Horner. He's going to struggle too much. They need to go get though. They need to go wrap their lineup and just completely change that because in the end, the Cubs had the World Series recently. You can go out. Go get an Aaron Judge. Go get him. I mean, he's on a list. Go get these guys. You can do this. This isn't the lovable losers anymore.
No,
go get somebody like that.
Well, and my thing is like my husband kind of thinks that we're going to get rid of Wilson Contreras, but that leads me to a question I have that I saw on Reddit. His brother's also a catcher, and for the Braves, and he keeps getting benched, so for no good reason. And so there's a really good subreddit on bringing him on board so he and Wilson could rotate in and out. Thoughts?
It's not a terrible idea, but the question I have is if we go and get, Contreras' brother, who do we give up? That's what it boils down to. Who do we give up? Do we give up prospects? We do have some. Okay, I agree with that. But the thing is
Hey, Jen, do you remember?
I'm about to turn the monitor around, by the way.
hey, Jen, do you remember Cheers?
Yes.
Yeah, your husband there's Vera. We hear the voice, we never see him.
And he actually laughed at that, Jacob.
The other
and I'm
thing
sorry,
that-
Jordan.
that
Alan
bugs me
doesn't talk
about
a lot, but sometimes he does. Oh, and I'm going to do this before I forget. Happy
That's all good.
birthday, Dom Drublis.
Oh, Dom, happy birthday. We got a beer with a candle in it.
Sorry for being all ADD there.
Hey, Dom, we have a beer with
Hey, that's okay.
a White Claw with a candle in it waiting for you.
So, last question. What do you think of like Rossi's decision the other night?
It's fundamental baseball. I mean, even JB was texting me this morning and saying, well, you got to hit this. I'm like, well, I got to see the situation again. And then when you read it again, it's a 2-1 ball game at that point. You're at home, and I understand that. But the thing that bugs me, and it bugged me when I looked at it, it's a 2-1 ball game, bases loaded and 1 out. You have the bases loaded, and you have Sims, who's not really a guy that can hit the ball to the outfield, or even, he's not a power hitter. The worst case scenario, double play. Well, that happened. What I would have done personally with runners on first, second, and third, you do a suicide squeeze or just a safety squeeze. Get the guy from third home. Even if you throw him out, you still have the bases loaded. And guess who's coming up? Morel. Who knows? He could hit into the gap. Cubs take the lead. It's just fundamental baseball. Now, on hindsight, you want to have the guy hit the baseball. You don't want to have him bunt. I get that. You want him to swing the bat. And unfortunately, like I said, it backfired. If he had to do it over again, I'm sure he'd let Simmons hit again. I would still go back to bunting.
Here's an issue, though. I'm going to bring this before you go here. Here's the issue we have is the fact that what David Ross, what his decisions are, and I've said what my issues with David Ross are. His decisions are getting a lineup going. Psychology for the people that slump and to keep them up when they're going well. That's your job also. They do that, which was, I brought up Dusty Baker's joke, but he's a master at that. So, I mean, I don't think Ross really is right now. And then also, yes, you have fundamental baseball, but he can't be blamed. I mean, you're a genius if it goes well, and if it screws up, they're a failure. And it's like, it's not his fault they don't hit it. And if you try to bunt and he pops it up, you can't tell. That's really not on Ross. You can make decisions and be able to do all that, but in the end, they still have to execute. So I'm not going to put everything on Ross on things. My main things I'm going to put up on him. My main things I'm going to put on him is the constant idea of just switching around the over and over and over. You know what I mean? Switching around the lineup.
School of thought.
Yeah, and then the idea and just some of the things that copy and Madden and stuff. But as far as execution, that's never on the manager, and too many fans think so.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap things up here on a fun show of Cubfidential. A little bit technical issues, but we got them figured out.
I was hoping to be able to make fun of all for 15 more minutes.
I got you, J-Lo.
Tell the people where they can follow you and see you on the network.
Yeah, so I'm kind of all over the place. I'm not going to lie. I'm on 3 Chicks in a Pod at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday nights. We had a great show earlier tonight. Cubfidential, obviously, with you all. Oh, and my girls on 3 Chicks, the Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price, and the Chiefs chick, Miss Carrie Johnson. And we're doing a great run all through June on Title IX and how it's grown through the years and evolved. And we'll be doing a 30 for 30 on our Facebook page. Then on Thursday nights, I've got Pundits Pundit with the pundit himself, aka the professor. And during the season, the NFL Carousel on Monday nights, and then on occasion on the step off, and I'm inviting myself this week so I can talk smack. And Monday nights will be the NBA carousel, and we don't have many of those left. This week it'll be me and Mr. Steve Schwanda going at it for 20 minutes or so, and we'll be having a good time. So that's where you can find me.
Well, I am
Jacob.
Monday
Where can the
nights
people
during-
find you?
I am Monday nights during the season, not this time, and definitely with a better. I'll find a better club for sure. NBA Carousel with Megan Price. Tuesday nights here this time with Jordan and Megan, and which usually is with 972% of Sideline Sports. We usually have everybody else, but tonight we have a little more streamlined.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Thursday nights, the Pundits Pundit with the star herself, Jenn.
Woohoo! I like my new nickname.
Hey, the star herself, the star and the professor. We'll have to make that a movie somewhere. and Sunday nights, with the Basket Bros, we are working, and I've got a couple things I'm also working on. And I'm going to work, and I am going to be working on an interview special very soon. I'm going to be telling everybody about this very soon. I'm going to surprise people with my idea tonight. I'm going to talk to JB about it pretty soon.
I want to know.
So as for me,
you will soon.
You can follow me at Sports Scoop One. I have blogs that are right Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Monday through Thursdays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com. You can also, I have a sports show that I'm trying to get on the network, but you can actually see it on my blog. It's under review that I talk about mostly Colorado sports with a sprinkling of national sports headlines as well. Of course, I'm on the NFL carousel, repping the Denver Broncos during the football season with Jennifer. I'm also with Jacob and lots of people on the Sideline Sports Network on the NBA carousel. Unfortunately, I got kicked off because the Suns didn't make it, but I do the Suns and the Nuggets. So, of course, we have so many other great shows for you to enjoy on the Sideline Sports Network. And I actually love Jennifer and Carrie and Megan's, Three Chicks in a Pod. Please check that out. These ladies do an amazing job. Of course, Jacob with the Basketball Bros. I'm learning a lot about sports or basketball. Sorry, from the 2010s back. Brings back a lot of memories. But again, we have another great show here on Cubfidential. Please check out our Sideline Sports Network on our YouTube because we have so many shows every day. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
And Jordan, one thing, your podcast is really good too, just so you know.
Oh, he does awesome.
He really does.
And the three chicks in the pod are stars.
Thank you. We appreciate that. So is the Professor Pundit Pundit.